everyone, welcome to Sprinkle Some Love with a Cause by Trisha Mullin. Today we have Hanna Troutman here. She's going to tell her story. Her story is a little different. She does suffer from anxiety and depression at times, but there's a bigger issue here that we kind of want to talk about and bring some awareness on. But I'm going to lead it to her to let her kind of go with that and let you guys know what that's about. Hey, Hanna, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. So yeah, if you want to kind of just tell the audience a little bit about your journey and where it starts, and we can go from there.
Yeah, in 2019, I found that I was pregnant. And I found out pretty early. I was about 3 weeks. So I had an appointment coming up with my doctor. And like the day before, or a few days before, I started bleeding. I went to the hospital and they did an ultrasound and they could not find any sign of pregnancy. But my levels did show that I was pregnant.
Okay.
So I ended up having a miscarriage. A couple weeks later, I ended up finding out I was pregnant again. And at this point, I found out when I was 6 weeks pregnant. So we had my first ultrasound and I was 10 weeks. We went and they could not find a heartbeat. They did find a baby, but there was no heartbeat. So I had to have a DNC, which is like a dilation and curettage or something.
Yeah, I've had a DNC before. It's kind of like where they go in and they clean out the uterus walls and clean everything out and make sure there's nothing left behind, so no bacteria form and you don't develop PIT or inflammatory pelvis infection disease.
Right. So they had that done, and that time was honestly the scariest for me, and it actually made my depression even worse because they kept asking me questions like, do I want to, take the baby and have it cremated, or do I want it buried, or do I just want a headstone, or did I just want them to send it to pathology so we could figure out why there was no heartbeat? I obviously chose the pathology because it already hurt too bad because, losing the baby and seeing it. But I think that's when things kind of got, really bad for me. And then after having that, we go through the new year. My husband and I get married, and it was right after the first shutdown happened.
For COVID.
Yeah.
And did your pathology report ever come back with a diagnosis of a condition or what had happened?
No.
No?
No. I thought it would come back with something saying, this is why the baby didn't make it, and, oh, this is what's happening in your body. But no, nothing came back. And it actually kind of broke my heart even more because the not knowing.
Yes.
The not knowing.
You can go to the record department still to this day and get a copy. I never received a pathology report from a single surgery. I never even knew what one was. And then when I went to the record department, they're just sitting there. No one's ever given them to me. No one's ever served me one. No one's ever gave me a copy of what came out of me, tumor-wise.
Right.
So I fully can relate to you on that particular part. But pathology, you can go and get a copy of your records. I would do that in the future. But definitely continue on. I just want to give you that bit because that might help you on your journey.
Right. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, but someone had to teach me.
Yeah. So after the first shutdown had just started, I was newly married with my husband, who was the father of the first 2 babies, and the one that we have now. And we were planning a honeymoon. And the time that we were planning it was around where I was supposed to start my period. I had 2 periods after the DNC.
Okay.
And
So,
I'm
so we're
I'm
like
like,
eight
okay, after the
weeks,
third one,
like 8 weeks to not 10 weeks out now from the procedures
yeah,
where we're looking at.
yeah.
So you're probably pretty fertile
So,
too at that point.
yeah. So we weren't even trying. Um, it was funny because my father-in-law actually was the one that, like, you're supposed to start your period. You haven't yet. What's going on? And then he kind of took a look at me, and I didn't know yet at that point. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, you're pregnant." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. We're not trying. It's fine. And I'm probably just going to start it in a few days." So he went out and got me a test.
He must be ready to
was
be a
the
grandpa.
weirdest thing for him.
He must be ready to be a grandpa.
Yeah. So I take it, and sure enough, it said pregnant. And then I took another one because I'm like, false positives happen.
Right.
And at that one, I didn't even read it. I gave it to my husband. I peed on the stick, gave it to my husband, and I'm like, you read it. I'm not doing this to myself. I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Right.
So then he reads it, and he goes, okay, well, I guess the first test wasn't lying. You're pregnant. And at that point, I had so many emotions circling through me. Like, we weren't ready. This wasn't planned. What is going to happen now? I had all of these thoughts that just kind of kick-started my anxiety to the point where I'm like, I'm going to lose this baby, and my husband's going to hate me, and we're going to get divorced, and it's just not going to be a good time. Well, I made it past the mark where the rate for miscarriage lowered dramatically.
Okay.
So by the time I gave birth to her, I was sort of excited, but I still wasn't like over the moon excited because I had read all these stories and horror stories about these parents who, had stillborns.
Okay.
I just kind of psyched myself out the whole pregnancy.
Right, so you were a little
Once
like
they
not
put
sure
her on the
yet.
test
You were like a little in denial or not sure because you didn't want to admit to being fully pregnant, because if you admit then and something goes wrong, then you're back at that whole point of realization of this may not happen again.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it was very scary. I suffered a lot during my pregnancy with my anxiety leading up to birth. I was terrified. And I don't know if it was just like the simple like aspect of like I'm gonna literally push a baby out. Like that scared me, I think, more.
Yeah, that's scary for any pregnant woman that carries any, like, child. We're all scared when it comes time to delivery. So how did your delivery go? Right. How did your delivery go? Did you have to have like a episiotomy or a C-section, or did the baby come out breech or any type of complications? Because those are all things that go through our head as we're pregnant. Like,
No.
how is this baby going to come out? Is it going to be normal, like breech? Is it going to be, vagina? Is it going to be C-section? Am I going to get ripped? Am I going to have 50-something stitches?
Yeah.
Like, how will this be? Can I walk after?
Yeah, so I gave birth naturally. I mean, not fully naturally because I had the epidural because I was not going through that pain without anything.
Okay.
But I think I ripped maybe like an inch where it was like 2 to 3 stitches.
Okay.
I didn't fully like rip.
Well, that's the average. 2 to 3 inches is the average. So that's
right.
Perfect.
And they ended up, I didn't even rip. They like cut me because her head was so big. But like weeks after, having her, I started to notice like I'm not doing okay. And it's not just the like not getting any sleep. Like I'm really not doing okay. And to this day I still have some of those problems, but I'm slowly getting better.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, and it's very scary because, I mean, like, I didn't have those thoughts of, like, hurting my child, like, postpartum depression. I just kind of wrote it off as, oh, this is the baby blues.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have a week or two.
Well, there's different types of.
Gonna be okay.
There's different types of postpartum. Not all of them are where people think of like hurting their babies. There's just some where the mom is really sad, or the mom has no happy thoughts while doing normal, simple things. She's just kind of like a walking zombie mom, but she has no emotion type of thing. There's different types of postpartum. Now, most time of the time, we often hear of the one that wants to hurt their baby because that's the one that's mostly talked about, or the one that's mostly publicized because it has to come public at that point, because A, CPS, or B, this, or C, that, But the other types are very real as well, and if not, are more powerful at times because they last for so long before anybody is able to identify that the mom has it, because A, she didn't hurt the baby, she didn't tell anybody she wants to hurt the baby, so she's got to be okay, and it's not always just that simple.
Right, and people don't think to, oh, she's a new mom, let me check up on her, or they talk to you, they say, oh, you must love just being a new mom. And some days I'm like, yeah, I do. I love it. I wake up and I'm like immensely in love with my child. But there are some other days where I'm like, I don't want to be a mom. I don't want to be Mavis's mom. I want to be Hanna again. Like,
right.
Those are the thoughts that scare me.
Okay. Well, my best advice to you for that is, while being a mom, we're afraid we will lose ourselves. So Hanna will lose Hanna. But if Hanna takes 15 minutes a day in the morning and 15 minutes a day in the afternoon, or an hour in the morning or an hour in the afternoon for Hanna, then Hanna won't lose Hanna, because you have to give yourself some type of time through the day to be you, or find yourself, or read a book, or just hot bath, things like that.
Yeah.
And, or if you can't do it daily, at least some, like a couple times a week, or it's just time to get Hanna pretty, whether we're going nowhere or not. I just need 30 minutes in the morning to do my hair and makeup with my cup of coffee. Leave me alone. Okay, honey, take the kids for 30 minutes. This is my time. You're about to go to work for 5 hours? All right, I need 30 minutes, honey. Yeah. And if you learn to adapt, now my daughter is 16 and my son is 14. Now, I've lost myself many times. Where Trisha goes, I don't know, but I always find her. And it's important that you get back on and you find her, and that you keep her, and that you love yourself and find yourself through the process of being a mother, because it balances that whole love. I always love my kids, but I always have to love me too, because if I don't love me first sometimes, then I can't be there to love you. Like, if I lose me, who is going to be there for you? And that's where I always find myself pulling myself back, kind of like a tug of war. Like, okay, you can't just say screw this. You have to get up. You have to do these dishes. Okay, it's been 3 days. You had 3 days off, girl. Okay? During those 3 days, you might have did your hair and makeup or recorded your little podcast. So, okay, now what's going on? Are those dishes ready, or are one of these kids going to get them? What's up, Mom? Are you going to order someone around? So it's hard. But you have to find yourself through it all and keep yourself. And then it'll have like equal balance. I do mom and daughter time. I do like mom and son time, but my son's getting like to the point he's just so into the video games and his friends. Like right now he has a cousin over and a friend. So he just wants his friends. He wants me to pick them up, drop them off, go skating. I don't really get all those bonding moments as much no more now that they're like teenagers. They're more or less like, all right, Mom, we need some money. We need a ride here. And can you pick us up here? And did you pay that phone bill?
Right.
That's about it. And I've got to be like, well, did you do those dishes? Did you take out that dog? Is your room clean? Didn't that trash under your bed did you pick it up? Like, that's our basic conversations. Once in a while, we have more, like, where they tell me about their friends or situations, but those younger days are the best moments, for sure. They're hard, very, very hard, with not a lot of freedom, but if I could trade it, sometimes I would. Just because those bonding moments, they were so fun and they helped make me who I am. That it's like, okay, well, now that they're older, I feel lost. Like, well, who am I again? All those bonding moments was part of like my other half. I found Trisha and then I had them and I would do the fun things with them. Now that they're older, like, what do I do fun? So I had to like kind of re-find myself again. I can't drink, so there goes liquor, there goes teenage, going to the bar, so okay, I gotta find myself again, because the last time I was lost was in my 20s, and here we are approaching 34, and you got to find some different, so you're always going to be reinventing yourself or finding yourself through the years. It's just important that you continue to do that, though, and know that
Right.
there's two sides to it. There's the mom side and then the you side.
Right. And I'm slowly getting to the point where I'm like, okay, you take the baby, hun, I'm going to go get in the shower. And I'll take a 30-minute shower.
That's the
And
best
he'll come
part.
out, he's like, are you okay? You were in there for a while. Yeah, I'm good. I just needed, a minute to breathe. I needed to be myself for a minute, and I needed to, take care of myself before I can take care of her. It always goes back to that saying. I say it's RuPaul's saying, okay? If you can't love yourself, how the hell is anybody ever going to love you?
Correct. And who can love
So, I
you
mean,
better than you?
exactly.
Yeah. Those are things I tell my daughter, who's going to love you better than you. So I definitely.
Sometimes I think my husband knows me more than I know myself.
I give men credit. They do pay attention. I feel like my man knows me sometimes more than I know myself. But that goes both ways. Like, I feel like I know him more than he knows himself.
Right.
So at this point, how old are your children now?
I have one, and she is 5 months old.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. You got a long time before they grow up, definitely. That's
Yeah.
5 months old. Ooh. Lord. It's been 14 years for me since I had a 5-month-old. And since I had my first 5-month-old, it's been 16. I feel old now. Although I'm so young. you know. So during birth and like all of that, I know that you're very fresh at this. So before all of this happened, did you ever have like depression or anxiety before?
Oh, yeah, I definitely did. There was a point, even way before I met my husband, that I had to go to a mental health hospital twice. One in 1 year and then the other in a different year. Because I was going through some stuff, very rough stuff that I shouldn't have been going through at that age.
Okay.
And it got to a point where I'm like, let's just end it. I'm just not happy here anymore. I just don't want to be here. I don't want to be alive. So I definitely have had these problems.
And what worked for you to get you out of those problems back to good health before everything happened the last time?
Honestly, it was a lot of reading. And not even reading books, but going on Wattpad and just reading short little stories about love and all that other stuff. And that really honestly, because I would see it as I feel like I'm in the story. I feel like I'm the main character.
Okay.
It was a way to escape reality for me, and it was a way to run from my problems without really running from them.
I get you. kind of slip off into a better place at that moment.
Yeah.
Okay. And what techniques other than reading were you able to utilize in your like day-to-day living to help get you out of any anxiety or depression you were having? Were you medicated at times, and did those work for you if you were? And if you weren't, what did you do other than medications to help you?
Yeah, so I did start taking some antidepressants, and they did not work the first time. They made me feel numb. I was like a walking zombie.
Yes.
That scared my mom even more. So, we went to go talk to the psychiatrist, and they put me on a different antidepressant that worked. But then I had to stop taking them when I was pregnant.
Okay.
So I never really got back to taking them. And then actually, a few years before I found out I was pregnant, I was diagnosed with bipolar.
Okay.
So I was on an anti-anxiety and bipolar medication that was like combined into one for that.
And did that help
and then
you?
It did. It really did help me. Like, I could notice like a significant change in my mood. And I wasn't snapping as much as I was before taking them.
So the bipolar medication has like a mood stabilizer in it for you that really helped benefit you.
Right, yeah.
Okay. And at this moment, would you feel like you're doing really good without medicine?
Yeah, I actually really do. And it all goes back to like being a mom.
Well, it changes you.
I don't have time to sit and think about how I'm feeling some days because, she needs a bath, or she's being really fussy, or she's teething. And, but there are days where I'm like, wow, I'm just in a really good mood. I woke up in a good mood. I'm just happy.
Okay. So at this point, tips and trades, what are you, do you have any?
Like a tip would be to, just don't shut people out. Don't, feel like you're going to burden them with the way you're feeling because, you're not. If they really love you, they're going to want to know how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, what they can do to help.
Do you have a good support system or people like that you can reach out to?
Oh, I definitely do.
That's good.
I have a few friends that would smack me upside the head if I didn't go to
them. That's good. Those are very good friends to have. I have a few of those too, and sometimes just being able to bounce your feelings off of somebody makes you feel like, okay, I'm not crazy. What I'm feeling is real today. Like, today was truly a crappy day. I'm not just tripping. We have those good days and bad days. And the people that we share them with that are in our corner are very special, for us to be able to open up like that.
Right.
So do you do, like, any journaling or dot coloring, or any hobbies at all?
So I don't journal, but I have a swear word coloring book.
Sweet.
So the days where I'm like super upset, angry, I will color like there is no tomorrow. Just one page, and I'll shut every doubt.
Okay.
In my own world, so I can, make time for myself. I can get myself right before, I try to hang out with my husband and the baby, and I try to, have a conversation with family, because it does get to be a lot and almost suffocating sometimes.
It does, and that's why I asked about the dot coloring, because I know that that's a very good tip to do, because it helps you, or any form of hobby. Like, I picked up crocheting or like sewing or crafting. Those things helped in it tremendously because while you're doing those hobbies, you have time to actually just think and clear your head and just relax, even though your mind and body is moving. So all that stress and anxiety and like the jitters you would get from like being stressed, you're like putting into your craft. So your body is exercising itself and your brain, because your brain is wandering into like your thoughts at that time, so you're able to like just connect with yourself. um do you do
Right.
any like rocks or crystals or spiritual healing or religious things?
I do not.
Okay. I don't know if you're interested in those, but rocks and crystals kind of have like just a different type of like a vibe or a sense. Some of them have different types of healing things, depending on what you're feeling. But I just like certain ones for rocks or colors and like having them at different spots of the house, because when I see them, it's kind of like a beautiful thing, just the feeling I get when I see them. And like I know I like the Himalayan rocks because like it takes a lot of the extra moisture and stuff out of the room. So there's different types of rocks that do different things and crystals. And just the way you like I feel like, have you ever been like to the beach? I love the beach and I love looking at the water or looking at pictures of the water, and when you look at that picture, how you feel,
Yeah.
finding things that make you feel happy inside like that. Or daily affirmations. I really like daily affirmations on books by Louise Hayes. She's very good. She also owns the Hay House Foundation, and she has a lot of really good self-help books and affirmations and audio. I love her CD audio collections because when I was like younger, with the kids younger, I didn't have time to pick up a book. But I did have time to slide my headphones in while I'm cleaning, sweeping, mopping, or doing dishes. And I would listen to her audiobooks all the time. And they helped me a lot through the years. Those are good books. What other self-help books? There's a lot of good things out there for the depression and stuff. So, but for your bipolar, are you currently doing anything for that now that you've had the baby? Or do you plan on going back to help for that? Or do you feel like you have it all, like that part under control too? Ready?
Okay, so yeah, I do plan on actually going back to get back on medication for my bipolar, because lately it has been getting bad to the point where I'm snapping at my husband, snapping at my dad, and I do let my anger get the best of me, and it's just not healthy.
Okay. So what do you feel you need to do about that? Like other than the medication, is there anything at home right now while waiting to get in that you're doing to help yourself? Like what are the current techniques that you're using to get by for that?
I do the normal like count to 10 in your head, calm yourself down, breathe.
Mhm.
And that actually seems to work the best.
Yes, an USA moment, as I call it. I used to do that all the time. Or I would go to the bathroom and count to 10 sometimes. And just be like, and I'm like, and I'm not bipolar, but I still do that. And I've done that my whole life because I find myself very moody, like all the time at people, like, but some people just, I feel like don't have common sense, and I really want to go ham, and I really have to stop myself and realize I need to go out there in a polite manner. Collect yourself. So yeah, definitely. For anybody out there that has been through what you're going through right now or has been through in the past, if you wanna, give them a little bit of positive encouragement right now.
Yeah,
What would you say?
I would just say that, like, you're not alone. There are people that have gone through this and understand what you're feeling, and that can actually really help you. Joining a support group actually really helped me, so there are support groups out there that can help.
Definitely. And what would you say to someone who has had a miscarriage and is really sad about it right now, like you were?
Everything happens for a reason. Maybe you just weren't ready, and that was a sign that you weren't ready and you needed to just wait a little bit longer. Waiting until the right time. And there never really is a right time. But waiting for that time, it will alleviate any stress that you have before.
Okay. And what would you say to your support system who, if they're listening, like out there, who would you thank?
I would honestly thank my family, and I count my closest, bestest friends as family. They, helped me become me again. They did not let me fall through the cracks. They understood what I was feeling and they made sure that I was okay. So I would just say thank you, like a big thank you to all of them.
Definitely. If anybody wanted to find you, where could they find you at? You want to like leave your Facebook or someone
Yeah,
if they want to follow you?
my Facebook is just my name, Hanna Troutman. And then I'm on Instagram too. Um, my Instagram is beautiful underscore blue underscore eyed. I think there's one more underscore after that.
Right. Okay.
Like, yeah, I'm always open to talk. If anybody ever has like any problems or they ever feel like they can't do it, my door or inbox is always open.
Definitely. I appreciate that. A lot of people right now are going through similar situations that you are going through, and I appreciate you coming on today and shining some awareness on that and being able to talk about that and being so open about it. That helps us in so many ways to realize that we are not alone, and that there are others out there. And you were blessed now with a beautiful baby girl, and hopefully one day people out there who are struggling will too be blessed. It's just like she said, you gotta hopefully when the time is ready. Definitely. Well, I appreciate you for joining us today, and I look forward to doing a follow up with you and seeing how your little girl is doing.
Yeah, I had so much fun being on the podcast. I definitely look forward to doing a follow up. But yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you. So until next time, everyone, that was Sprinkle Some Love with a Cause. Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome. Thank you.